Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Now, this is my attempt to make a meta Tron list. This is my imagining of what will be good, or optimal here. I base this solely on feel and nothing else. So, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We're kind of maxed out on threats as much as possible. We have 2 Ulamogs, 2 Ugins, maxed out on Karns, 3 Wormcoils, 1 Thragtusk, and 2 Walking Ballistas. To complement this, we have Relics for some other early cantripping. Grave Hate is probably not as important, but still relevant, so I want to make sure that I have some in the main deck. And 2 O-Stones. O-Stone, generally good when you need to Wrath early. Hopefully it works. Other than that, basic Tron complement. And, yeah, let's take this into a constructed league and see what happens. Nothing special in the sideboard, though kind of a narrower wish board. A lot more kill spells and enchantment artifact removal. So, we'll see what happens. See you guys in round 1. Alrighty, round 1, here we go. We have lost the die roll. But we got 2 Tron lands and a bunch of cantrips, so here's hoping we can hit Tron by turn 3. We are also on the draw, which does mean at least 1 extra chance at getting that Urza's Tower that we so desperately need. So this will be a keep. I hit Mulligan by mistake! Oh man, we're punting right out the gate with this one. Oh. Only in a Kano video. Only in a Kano video would that happen. Alright, I'm going to keep this and put back O-Stone. I can't believe I hit Mulligan. I have got to be way more careful. Opponent starts Arid Mesa, but doesn't do anything with it, which tells me they're probably control. They could still be burn. So we're going to start Urza's Power Plant, Chromatic Star. Opponent fetches up Steam Vents. They could be Blitz. That is possible. They fetch with Arid Mesa. They get a basic mountain. They're almost certainly Blitz. Manamorphose. So here comes Stormwing Entity. Yep. Man. I can't believe myself. But I'm not gonna let it put me on tilt here. So we're gonna sack Chromatic Star for green. Hopefully we draw a new Tron land. We did not. Okay. Ancient Stirrings. We hit Tower. Rest of the bottom. Play Tower. Play Chromatic Sphere. Next turn we can Sylvan Scrying. Get Tron. Oh, it's just not gonna be quite as good. But, you know, I'll take what I can get. It's a crutch. We didn't need it. Here's my excuse. If I win, then, you know, it was destined to happen, and if it was a crutch and I didn't need it, it was all skill, I was BMing my opponent, and, if I don't win, then obviously it was just bad luck. I clicked the wrong button, Moto's interface fault, blame anyone but my, Okay, we need an Urza's Mine. Play Urza's Mine, play Chromatic Sphere. Sack it for green. Hey! O-Stone looks pretty good. So we want our opponent to cast like 3 1-drops and then just be hellbent. That's what we want to happen. We're getting Lava Darted. We're going to take a ton of damage this turn. It might even be lethal. Oh gosh, okay. That's 10, we're down to 3, Burst Lightning, and that's lethal. Oh yeah, no, we were like super dead. Okay. Alright, so Dismember, Spatial Contortion in. We're going to cut an Ulamog. We're going to cut Walking Ballistas. Now, Walking Ballista is kind of in the middle ground, like maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I think in this case it's worse than Spatial Contortion. We're going to try and run it like this. I'm also going to drop a Relic of Progenitus. I like keeping in 1 Ulamog because it gives me something to go and fetch with Sanctum of Ugin if we're winning basically as hard as possible. I have to be really careful to only hit Mulligan if I intend to Mulligan, so... Alrighty, I would love to play first. This is a much, much slower Tron hand, but we're holding a Wormcoil and 2 kill spells. Can we risk it? You know what? I think on the play, I'm going to try keeping it. We're going to see if this works. So, play Forest, Ancient Stirrings. Come on, Tron land. Show me that Urza's Mine or Urza's Tower. I mean, honestly, not the power plant. That's not what I wanted, but I'll take an expedition map, thank you. Rest to the bottom, any order. Opponent untaps, starts with an Arid Mesa, immediately fetches, gets a Steam Vents and Soul Scar Mage. We untap, draw Thragtusk, play Power Plant, and immediately Spatial Contortion. My opponent would have to have a Mutagenic Growth or 2 free spells, and casting those on our turn is not good for how their deck plays, so they're not likely to do that. Looks like that may have been my opponent's only threat, which would be awesome. So we're going to play Blast Zone, and we're going to play Expedition Map. And I could play Relic and just leave up Dismember. I think I'm going to tutor for a Tron land and leave up Dismember. I think that's the game plan we're on right now. Because really, we just need to make land drops to Thragtusk or Wormcoil, and that's achievable with this hand as is. And I may just have to cycle Relic of Progenitus next turn. Okay. Opponent plays a Soulscar Mage, and they are passing. So go get an Urza's Mine. We untap, draw Oblivion Stone, play Urza's Mine, play Relic, cycle Relic. Any land gets us to Thragtusk, which is huge. Alright, pass the turn. I will dismember Soulscar before they connect and do damage. Possibly even right now. Yeah, we're going to do this right now. My opponent would have to have like 2 Mutagenic Growths to save that. I don't want to sack Blast Zone basically at any point right now. My opponent seemed pretty threat light, which tells me they're probably holding Stormwing entities. And I could have saved Dismember for one, but it's more likely that my opponent has like a light up the stage or something. Get him, Thragtusk. And now if we draw an Urza's Tower, we cast Ulamog and just nuke their lands and we're good to go. Okay, we gain 5. Opponent cannot do anything with the mana off of Manamorphose. They might have Skullcrack with that play. They're going to Mutagenic Growth Thragtusk just to cast Stormwing Entity. Alright, can't say I envy them. Show me the Urza's Tower. Ancient Stirrings. So I could take Sphere and just cantrip. I think I'm going to take Spatial Contortion and force them to have some kind of interaction. Yeah. They're so threat light that they had to Mutagenic Growth our creature to cast a threat. So that was completely worth it. They bolt our face. They hit us for 2. We untap, draw Sanctum, play Sanctum, go to combat, attack for 5, hit our opponent down to 5, play Wormcoil, pass the turn. And the game is over. Whew! Tron, we don't need it. Run it back. Alright, game 3. Tower, Sphere, Star, Stirrings, and Map with Karn. This is really tempting. Yeah, on the draw, I think I'm going to keep it. If we top deck a Tron land, we start Tower Map. If we don't, we start Tower Star. Pass the turn. Ancient Stirrings, don't fail me now. You've been on thin ice for a while. Opponent fetches with Arid Mesa, gets a mountain, so they probably are going to Manamorphose into a Stormwing Entity. Yep, there it is. They go Scrying. Okay, we want to draw Tron land and then Ancient Stirrings for the other one. Cycle Chromatic Star. Get a Wormcoil. Ancient Stirrings. We find an Urza's Mine. Rest to the bottom. Play Urza's Mine. Play Chromatic Star. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Spire Bluff Canal. That's very scary with my opponent having 5 cards in hand. Another Manamorphose. They opt. Bolt. We get hit to 11. Untap. Draw Sphere. Crack Star for green. Draw a card. Sylvan Scrying. No! Oh, we would have had it. Pass the turn. Here's hoping they're holding 4 mountains. Starting Fiery Islet cycle means we might be okay. Mutagenic Growth means we might be dead. Stormwing Entity number 2. We're getting hit for 6 and going to 5. Opponent still has 2 cards in hand. Alrighty. Us missing that land drop, I think, killed us. So play Sphere. There's the Power Plant. Rest to the bottom. Play Power Plant. We have no way to interact with our opponent's board. Cycle add black. I think even had I kept the correct hand in game 1, we probably weren't beating our opponent's like absurd multi-prowess threat burn hand, but I can't shy away from the fact that I did in fact punt away round 1. But what can you expect? It's a Kano video. I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, round 2. I would like to play first. I can't keep that. This is pretty tempting. So we'll put back a forest. So we start Power Plant Sphere. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Triome. We untap. Draw Karn, Great Creator. Cycle for green. Play Star. Play Mine. Cycle for green. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn and passes. We draw Big Karn Liberated. Play Power Plant. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. Oh, you know what I forgot to put in the sideboard of this deck? Veil of Summer. I knew I was forgetting. I was like, I got so many sideboard slots. What am I going to do with them? Not put Veil of Summer there. No, sir. I definitely don't need Crucible of Worlds in the sideboard here. Oh, Kano. Kano, you mess of a human being. You've only been playing Tron for, I don't know, what, 5 lifetimes? Alright, opponent plays Wrenn and 6, picks up Scalding Tarn. They're still leaving up Mana Leak mana. We draw Walking Ballista. Play Walking Ballista. Okay, we get Remanded. Pass the turn. Here comes Omnath. So this deck, the last few times I've seen it, has been winning with Kiki Resto off of the mana it's been getting from Omnath. So like it has like a triple red mana base, and then it plays 2 lands to get 4 mana, one of which is white from Omnath, and then crazy stuff ensues. Bring to Light, 4 colors. Valky. Tybalt. Exile Scalding Tarn and Wormcoil Engine. Urza's Tower off the top 1 time. Sylvan Scrying is almost what I asked for. So Sylvan Scrying, we'll get an Urza's Tower. Play Ballista, X1, pitifully. Pass the turn. So the problem is my opponent almost certainly has counterspells, and we do not have Veil of Summer because, once again, Kano sideboard construction. Absolute big brain maneuver. We're going to ping Valky in Defiance. They uptick, exiling Growth Spiral and Ugin. So they play a fetch land. I mean, they just play Ugin, right? Like, why wouldn't you? With all this extra mana you're getting. So, with converted mana cost less than or equal to... This beats the Spirit of the Dual-Faced cards, then. Like, with Cascade and such. They should errata this to not be able to cast Tybalt, because that also means you can probably As Foretold Tybalt out. So opponent plays our Wormcoil Engine. Play Karn. Alright. Well, what sideboard do we not have versus this deck? Nothing? Great. Run it back. Alright. I would like to play first. That's not keepable. This is very close. Any sphere or star basically makes this the hand. I think I still got to go to 5. Alright. We're going to try it. We're probably putting back O-Stone and Thragtusk. Start Power Plant Sphere. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Misty Rainforest. We draw a star. Sack Sphere for green. Play star. Play mine. Sack star for green. Draw map. Play map. This is probably too slow, but this does guarantee Tron at the very least. I imagine my opponent's full up on the Cleansing Wildfires and such. They get a Raugrin Triome. They untap. Opponent plays a Steam Vents, untapped. Cleansing Wildfires the right land, like they always do. We get a Forest. Untap. Draw Sylvan Scrying. Cast Sylvan Scrying. Get a tower. Play a tower. Play Chromatic Star. Pass the turn. They play Valakut. And pass. We untap. Draw Karn. Cycle just to see if we can hit mine. We do not. Crack map. Get mine. Assemble Tron. Pass the turn. It's possible I should have just played another power plant and then waited. Because if they have another Cleansing Wildfire or a Snapcaster for a Cleansing Wildfire, we could be in for a very bad time. We untap. We draw a sphere. Play sphere. Sack it for green. Play power plant. Play Karn. This should get countered. Mystical Dispute. We cannot pay for it. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Blood Crypt tapped. We untap, draw Walking Ballista, play Power Plant, play Walking Ballista, X6. We get remanded. Well, we're trying to draw out the counter magic. They untap, play a Scalding Tarn. They're going to fetch for a green source, probably a Breeding Pool. Or if they're not doing anything on their turn, they'll get a Stomping Ground on our turn or a Ketria Triome more likely. They don't need the mana. This matchup is very easily winnable for us, provided, of course, we have Veil of Summer in the sideboard. Which you should have. Absolutely. I just don't, because I'm Kano. Alright. Put a cracked Scalding Tarn. So here comes Valky. They're going to Bring to Light. If they've got Force of Negation backup, there's nothing we can do. Yep, Bring to Light. They Tibalt, exiling Karn Liberated and Renin 6. We untap. We draw O-Stone. Play a Forest. Oh, that doesn't even work. Shoot Tibalt for damage. Play Walking Ballista X2. Pass the turn. Well, they won't be able to play Karn immediately, so if we can somehow get Ugin to alt, we can probably win. I could have minused Ugin for all he was worth. My opponent Bring to Light, so they're going to have an answer. Five mana. This looks like Bring to Light out of their own exile zone. Cryptic Command. So opponent is going to unsummon Ugin? Okay. So they must have Force of Negation, right? Play Karn. Nuke Tibalt. Go to combat. Attack them for 3. I mean, if they have a land, they can play our Karn, but then we could play Ugin and kill their Karn. Okay, opponent has an Omnath. They get to draw. They play Misty, they gain life. Then they pass. We untap. Draw Star. Uptick Karn on their hand. Play Ugin. They have to have Force, I think, for a hard counter. Or Remand. Remand would work too. Man, am I glad they can't just Mystic Sanctuary me here. Hollowed Fountain. Gain a bunch of mana. Oh, I guess that technically means they could have Cryptic. That would work too. Oh no. No, they still have to have some kind of spell. Okay. Play Star. Sack it for green. 1/1 counter on Ballista. Go to combat. Attack them for 4. Opponent chumps. Or trades. Alright. Pass the turn. So opponent has 7 lands now, so they'll just play Karn and down tick on our Karn. Then we have to Ancient Stirrings and kind of hope for like an Ulamog. Opponent shocks a Stomping Ground. So they're going to Bring to Light to get another Tibalt. Kind of looks that way. Oh, never mind. We're just dead to Scape Shift. Sure. Alrighty, well, I'll see you all in round 3. Alrighty, round 3, here we go. It is now the next morning. Yeah. It looks like my luck might be better today. No. I mean, hopefully my opponent shows up. Alright, here we go. Power plant into expedition map. Pass the turn. They start Fetch, Shock, Blood Crypt, and Conflagrate, so this is Dredge. We untap, we get a Relic. Play Tower, let's go get mine. Pass the turn. But it fetches with Wooded Foothills, gets a Stomping Ground. Might Conflagrate to dump their hand here. Cathartic Reunion. No Dredge cards. We untap and draw Karn. So players is mine. Play Karn. The game's over. Yep. Alright, so what I was thinking about doing was playing out Relic and then wishing for Cage. But it didn't look like that was particularly necessary. I don't think I actually make any adjustments. We're just going to run it back. Okay, this is technically workable. With an Ugin, it might even be kind of nice. Yeah, you know what? We're on the draw. If we draw Tron land, we're like good to go. Okay, opponent starts Dakmor Salvage tapped. Draw Ulamog. So we can either go Chromatic Sphere into Sylvan Scrying or Expedition map. And I think I'm going to go Chromatic Sphere. It gives me an additional draw to try and find a Tron land before casting Scrying first. This will be a turn 4 Tron, most likely, but is still possible to be turn 3. We have 2 draws to find a Tron land. Okay, opponent plays Copperline Gorge, probably Cathartic Reunion here. Okay, Cathartic Reunion dropping Shriekhorn and Stinkweed Imp, Dredging Imp, Dredging Thug, and Dredging Imp. We get Creeping Chilled. So next turn, opponent can Dredge Loam, then they can get back Bloodghast. They are playing Blood Moon, it is worth noting. So play Blast Zone, play Relic, and I'm actually going to nuke this right now. Okay. The reason being is if my opponent either has a Loam in hand and no lands, or doesn't have a Loam in hand and has no lands, we want to stop them from casting a potential Loam. So opponent draws naturally. Another Cathartic Reunion. That's pretty good. Double Stinkweed Imp. So they get back 2 Narcomoebas and Prized Amalgam. And 2 Prized Amalgams. They'll have a Conflagrate as well. If they have a land, they can get back Bloodghast. They do not have a land, which kind of means we did what I intended to. So sack, Sphere for green, Sylvan Scrying. Let's get an Urza's Mine. Play the Mine. Play Expedition map. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, dredges Loam into a Creeping Chill. So they're going to Loam here and get 2 Bloodghasts. We really need to top deck a Power Plant. Because if we can top deck a Power Plant, we can just play Ugin, exile the entire board, and we're fine. Otherwise our backup plan is playing Walking Ballista on 2 and trying to, like, just ping down the most power we can. Which is not super great. Okay, the Ancient Grudge Expedition map. So we need Sphere, Star, or Power Plant. But really we need Power Plant. Opponent attacks us for 8, we go to 6. Well, actually we're going to be dead, because my opponent's discarding 7. Even if I wipe the board, they just Conflagrate, and we lose. Karn Great Creator. Does that change anything? I don't think it does. Alright. Game 3. Okay, I guess I should have been more disciplined about that Relic. So we have to bring in Wilts and Nature's Claim, unfortunately. And that means we're dropping an Ulamog and 2 Ballistas. Try like this. And the logic behind this is we have to be somewhat resistant to a Blood Moon, because they will cast it if given the opportunity. Alright, we'll play first. You know what? I'm gonna keep it. We technically can cycle Wilt trying to find Urza's Power Plant. Warbcoil Engine is decent, but it's not like the end-all be-all versus Dredge. And most importantly, we have a Relic turn 1. Alright, start Urza's Mine, Relic of Progenitus. Pass the turn. Opponent's turn. They play Arid Mesa. They crack Arid Mesa. Make them exile it. They get a Stomping Ground, untapped. Burning Inquiry. We lose Tower and Wilt. Unbelievable. Oh, this card at its top end is just Hymn to Turok. Oh my god. Well, you know what? It worked out okay. Play Chromatic Sphere. Make our opponent exile a card. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent draws. Can't do anything? Wow, okay. We untap. Draw Karn Liberated. Make our opponent exile a card. Probably exile Pythic Needle, because it's the card they can't buy back. Pass the turn. I'm going to be disciplined about this sphere. I might crack Relic soon, but opponent untaps. Draws up to 8. Now they can't do anything. Alright, we untap. Opponent has to discard the hand size. Stinkweed Imp. We draw Ugin. Okay, now is the time. Yeah, you know what? Exile Relic. Power Plant. Alright, Sylvan Scrying. So next turn we'll have Tron. Can't do much with it, but next turn we'll have Tron. I'm so glad I didn't crack that sphere early, because I definitely would have. Opponent has to discard to hand size, discarding Golgari Thug. We'll draw a Forest. Sack Sphere for green. Sylvan Scrying. Get Power Plant. Play Power Plant. Play out Chromatic Sphere. Pass the turn. Well, they shouldn't be able to Blood Moon us this turn. They don't dredge. They're trying to hit a land. They found a land. So, Cathartic Reunion. If they put a bunch of guys on board, we just Ugin and wipe the board. So we get Creeping Chilled. That was a pretty weak dredge. And I think because my opponent's been missing on land drops, we definitely play Karn Liberated and just start nuking lands. I mean, I guess I could get Trinisphere, but then if they draw a land, we could potentially be in trouble. Play Karn. Take out Stomping Ground. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Copperline Gorge. Passes. We untap. Draw another Ugin. Play a Forest. That's 10. Uptick on my opponent's hand. Cast Ulamog. Nuke our opponent's lands. Alright. We win the match. I will see you all in round 4. Alrighty, round 4, here we go. Alright, well, we've got Tron, in theory. So we keep. Opponent starts Sacred Foundry. And it's Burn! They attack us for 2. There's an Ugin the Spirit Dragon on top. We untap. So we draw Ugin. So we play Urza's Mine, Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Mountain. They attack us for 2. We draw Urza's Tower. We go down to 16. Skewer. Bolt. We're at 10. Alright, well if they're holding 3 lightning bolts, we're just dead. So play Urza's Tower. Let's go get Urza's Mine. Or Power Plant, I mean. Pass the turn. Discard Scrying. They play Arid Mesa. They have to have 3 lightning bolts exactly. Relic of Progenitus on top of our deck. We get Boros Charmed. We untap and draw Relic. So here's the problem where Wormcoil Engine does not gain you life immediately. And we do not have green mana for Thragtusk. My opponent also has more than 2 lands, meaning that I can't just get Trinisphere and win the game. I'm dead to any burn spell right now. So we're definitely playing Power Plant, that much is sure. So what we could do... No, that doesn't even work. I was going to say we could cycle Relic looking for a sphere or a star, and then try and... like cycle it for green and then play Thragtusk, but we have 1 too few mana for that. So if I play Karn, get Trinisphere, and they have a single lightning bolt, I die. If I play Ballista, they have to have 2 bolts and no creatures to do that. So I guess we're going to play Ballista and Relic. Unfortunately, Wormcoil does not basically do anything here. It stops them from attacking. Maybe I should have played Wormcoil, but... yeah, I think I actually should have played Wormcoil, because this achieves the same result, but we don't gain life next turn, guaranteed. Okay, I'm going to play as a mountain. Searing Blaze. Kill Goblin Guide. Alright. Well, we still would have died even had we played Wormcoil. So, Spatial Contortions in, O-Stone, Ulamog out. Alright, we'll play first. It's not a keepable hand. This one is. So we're going to keep, we're going to put back O-Stone, and now the question is, do we start Sphere or do we start Map? Now normally when I get this hand, what I do is I play Sphere, and then I use Scrying on turn 2, because it gives me an additional draw on the way to Tron to try and find a threat. However, we also have Ancient Stirrings this time. If I think I can save Sphere for a Tron activation, then Ancient Stirrings and try and find a Wormcoil. And I think that's actually better. So, play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Mountain. Plays a Goblin Guide. Karn, Great Creator on top. Okay. We untap and draw Karn. Play Tower. Grab Power Plant. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent starts Lava Spike. Attacks us for 2, reveals another tower. Suspends Rift Bolt. Okay, so we are definitely wishing for Trinisphere here. We draw Walking Ballista. Play Power Plant. Play Karn. Wish. Get Trinisphere. Play Trinisphere. Pass the turn. Rift Bolt can't come off Suspend because it can't be cast. And the game is over. Alright. Moving on to game 3. That's a mulligan. That's a mulligan. Almost. Going to 3. There it is. Okay. I want to keep Sylvan Scrying because technically we have more spheres and stars in the deck than land tutors that would be efficient. But I also want to keep Sphere because a redraw at this stage of the game is very powerful. We're on the draw, so we're probably going to be dead before we would assemble Tron anyway, but Goblin Guide might change that. When it goes to combat, attacks, we reveal Karn Liberated. Okay, we just got to draw Power Plant. Players is mine. Yeah, maybe I should have kept Sphere, actually. I think the redraw was better, because the odds that we were actually going to cast Sylvan Scrying is pretty low. Okay, opponent plays Swift Spear. Gets in for 3. Goblin Guide finds us a Sylvan Scrying. Okay, we untap. We draw Sylvan Scrying. Now if I had kept Sphere or Star, I actually could have Sylvan Scryinged and we would have had a Karn next turn. Alright, come on. Goblin Guide, you know what to do. Power Plant on top, let's go. Swift Spear. Opponent suspends Rift Bolt. Hits us for 4. Blast Zone. Almost works. We don't have quite enough mana for it. Untap and draw another tower. Play Blast Zone, though it's going to be far too late. We're dead if our opponent has 2 damage. Which, they're burned, they do. Yep. Well, I've got a feeling I deserved that one. I will see you all in round 5. Alrighty. Round 5, here we go. I've had to record this like at weird points all over the day, so now it is way late at night while I finish off this league. First hand was a mulligan. This hand is also a mulligan. Yeah, alright. We'll put back Wormcoil and Oblivion Stone. Start Urza's Tower, Chromatic Star. Hopefully between our draw step and Star's draw, we can find another Tron land. That way we can Sylvan Scrying into Tron on turn 3. Pass the turn. Opponent starts Windswept Teeth. Suspends Lotus Bloom. They could be anything. I have no idea what would play that card. Normally I'd say ad nauseum, but that's not a deck anymore, to my knowledge. Alright, play Blast Zone, Sylvan Scrying, get an Urza's Mine, pass the turn. Opponent cracks Windswept Teeth, gets a Mistveil Plains. Okay, my opponent is playing Enduring Ideal, which is not a deck I would have ever imagined my opponent was actually going to play. But, I mean, if it's playable in this meta, at least even as like a tier 2 or lower deck, I think that's actually pretty awesome. Alright, opponent plays Treasure Map. We untap and draw Sylvan Scrying, so players is mine. Play Chromatic Sphere. Crack Sphere for green. Draw another tower, Sylvan Scrying, and get Power Plant. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent untaps, Lotus Bloom ticking down. Opponent scries on their upkeep. Plays a Windswept Teeth. We untap. Draw an Ulamog. Well, that's a good follow-up. Play Karn. Wish. We'll get Liquid Metal Coating. Play Coating. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Windswept Teeth for a Sacred Foundry. Do they have Lightning Bolt? I would be very surprised if they had Lightning Bolt. Shut off Sacred Foundry on their upkeep. Okay, Lotus Bloom comes off Suspend, but is ultimately worthless. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Plains. Passes. We untap and draw Sylvan Scrying. So, shut off Sacred Foundry. Blow it up. Play Tower. Ulamog. Exile lands. Game's over. Nice. So versus Enduring Ideal, I guess we bring in Nature's Claim and Wilts. I'm gonna go down Thragtusk, Wormcoil, and try it like that. I think with the Wilt, this is actually keepable. This means that if my opponent has a suppression field, one suppression field, we can answer it. If we get up to an Ugin, it's gonna be game. We can just pretty much exile any enchantment they could have. Opponent starts Sacred Foundry tapped. They did mull to 5. We draw a Chromatic Sphere, so players is mine. Play Expedition Map. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Snow-Covered Plains into a Sorcerous Spyglass. So they're probably going to name Expedition Map. Luckily we have Wilt. I mean, I guess they could name Ugin if they wanted to, but... Okay, they name Map. We untap. Draw Relic. Play a Forest. Pass the turn. It's wilting time. Opponent plays a Needle Verge pathway into a Thraben Inspector. Getting a clue. Immediately cracks the clue. So, Wilt Spyglass. We untap. Draw Power Plant. Play Power Plant. Ancient Stirrings. Let's see if we can get a bigger threat. Well, we found a tower. Rest of the bottom. Play Chromatic Sphere. Sack it for green, play a Relic, exile my opponent's card from their grave, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Windswept Teeth, cracks Windswept Teeth. They get a Mistveil Plains, they hit us for 1, sure. We go down to 19. Opponent silences us. Interesting choice. Play a tower, sack Relic. We draw a Forest, pass the turn. Silence is sort of effective versus Tron. I used to bring it in the Blue-White Time Warps Tron matchup. But it hits us for 1. Sack Expedition Map. Let's get a Blast Zone. We draw Ulamog. Well, if I knew that's what I was drawing, play Blast Zone. Play Ugin. Uptick Ugin. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They play a Field Mist Border Post. We untap, draw Power Plant, play Power Plant, uptick on our opponent, play Ulamog, nuking 2 mana producing permanents, and the game is over. No treasure chest this time, so what did we learn? I gotta think back way earlier in the day, because I started playing this super early today. Number one change. Probably drop Dismember, drop Wilt, and drop Worm Coil out of the side. Run 3 Veil of Summer. Like, that's probably what the sideboard should actually look like. You may want to drop a Walking Ballista in the main to have it dismember a third Oblivion Stone or a third Relic of Progenitus, depending on your meta. If you're in a super heavy aggro meta, you may even want a second Thragtusk instead. Other than that, I don't really think I have too much to say about it. Tron is Tron. It's going to be fairly decent in the metagame. It really helps if you don't mulligan when you don't intend to. And yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier. Yeah, we've had a lot of new people joining the Discord, which is pretty sweet. It's good to see some faces, or usernames from YouTube that I recognize now in the Discord and hanging out. It's a lot of fun. So I hope to see you guys at the next stream or in the Discord, and I'll talk to you guys next time. You're all wonderful human beings. Thanks for watching. We are well on our way to 1,000 subscribers right now. We've gotten like 18 subscribers in 2 days, so thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!